People ask me all the time, what is the secret to success? I actually always had 5 rules. And everything that I did, I always used those 5 rules. And I believe that those rules can be applied to almost anyone and everyone. So my first rule is find your vision and follow it. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a vision, you just drift around. You're not going to be happy. I grew up after the Second World War. Austria, right along with Germany, lost the Second World War. There was a terrible economic situation. There was famine, there was starvation, and all of those things. I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to escape. And luckily, one day in school, I watched a documentary about America. And I found myself. I knew exactly that is where I wanted to end up. I wanted to be in America. The question was just, how do I get there? How do I get to America? But one day, I was fortunate enough to see a bodybuilding magazine. And on the cover was this very muscular guy. His name was Reg Park. I read the article as fast as I could, learning about how he grew up in Leeds in England, poor, and how he trained 5 hours a day, every single day, and trained and lifted weights, and then he finally became Mr. Great Britain. And then he became Mr. Universe. And then he won a second Mr. Universe title and a third Mr. Universe title, and then all of a sudden he landed in Rome in Cinecittà doing Hercules movies. And as I read, I became more and more certain about my own future. I knew exactly that I wanted to become another Reg Park. I could visualize myself clearly to be a champion on that same stage where he won the Mr. Universe. I had that vision very clearly laid out. From that moment on, everything that I did, no matter how hard I had to work or how much I had to struggle, it didn't matter. It was a wonderful joyride because I knew what the purpose was and I found my passion. Always discover your vision and the rest will follow. My second rule is never ever think small. You have to go and shoot for the stars. In German we have a saying, wenn schon, denn schon. And that means that if you do something, then go all out and do it well. And this was not just the case in bodybuilding. I didn't just want to be a bodybuilding champion. I wanted to be the greatest bodybuilder of all times. And the same is also in movies. I didn't just think about being in movies. No, I wanted to be a movie star. I wanted to become the highest paid entertainer. What's wrong with that? So remember, never think small, think big. My third rule is ignore the naysayers. I think it is natural that when you have a big vision and big dreams and you have big goals, that people are going to say around you, I don't think it can be done. I think it's impossible. Or no. I tell you, I heard this all the time. When I wanted to go into show business, after I won 13 world championship titles in bodybuilding, I tell you, when I met those agents and managers and studio executives, their reaction was, oh, Arnold, that is so funny. You want to be what, a leading man? Oh, come on. I mean, look, first of all, let's start with your body. Look at your body. I mean, you're overdeveloped. You're gigantic. You're like a monster. Are you kidding me? And then your accent, oh, it gives me the chills just listening to your German bullshit. Have you ever seen an international movie star with a German accent? It doesn't happen. Forget about that. And then your name, what is it, Schwarzen, Schnitzel or something like that? Yeah, I can see that name already up there on the billboard. Yes, and people are going to storm the theater and the movie houses because Schwarzen Schnitzel is starring in a movie. Oh yeah, I can see that already. So that's what they said. They said to me, it says, look, forget about it, you're a nice guy. Luckily, I did not listen. And I started working very hard. I started taking acting classes, English classes, speech classes, dialogue classes, even accent removal classes. I ran around all day saying lines like, a fine wine grows on a vine. I remember all of a sudden I got a TV show, a little part, then another little part, and then all of a sudden I landed the big role as Conan the Barbarian. So finally I got the big break. And you know what was so interesting about it was the director said at the press conference, the director is John Milius, he said, if we wouldn't have had Schwarzenegger with those muscles, we would have had to build one. And then when I did Terminator, James Cameron said, which was really great. He said the "I'll be back" line became one of the most famous movie lines in history because of Arnold's crazy accent, because he sounded like a machine when he talked. So as you see, everything that the naysayers said was a liability became an asset. So I just recommend you very strongly, ignore the naysayers. The fourth rule is work your ass off. Nobody ever stumbled upon success by accident. You never want to fail because you didn't work hard enough. I remember Muhammad Ali, one of my great heroes, had a great line in the 70s when he was asked, "How many sit-ups do you do?" He said, "I don't know, because I start counting only when it starts burning. When it starts burning, that's when it starts counting." It doesn't matter in what area you're in. No pain, no gain. Listen, when I came to the United States, I remember that I trained 5 hours a day, every day, and I was managing a construction business, and I was a bricklayer, and I went to college also, and I took acting classes from 8 o'clock at night to 12 o'clock midnight. All of that in one day. Every day I did that. You must work your ass off. It's that simple. And my fifth and last rule is, don't just take. Give something back. Leave your mark on the world. Tear down that mirror that makes you always look at yourself. And you will be able to look beyond that mirror, and you will see the millions and millions of people that need your help. And this is why I tried to take every opportunity that I could to give something back. I started training Special Olympians. I joined the Simon Wiesenthal Center to fight prejudice. I started after-school programs for the most vulnerable children, for inner-city children, to make them be able to say no to drugs, no to gangs, and no to violence, and to say yes to life. So I feel very strongly all of us need to have and embrace that kind of a spirit. We all can create change, whether it is in our neighborhood or in our local schools or in our country. We must leave the world a better place than you found it. Because the bottom line is, it is up to us. So I want you to remember those rules. Have a vision. Think big. Ignore the naysayers. Work your ass off and give back and change the world. Because if not us, who? If not now, when?